My friends, to the final of GP Pittsburgh. Oliver Chew facing off against Bram Thomas. You're in the booth with me. My name's Riley Knight, and it's my great pleasure to be joined once again by the #1 ranked player in the world. It is Reed Duke. Reed, you've picked Bram Thomas as your favourite here, and Bram Thomas with his mono red aggro deck off to the races already. Bowman Courier, turn number 1.
Oh, this is just the dream start for any mono red player. You're on the play, and you have turn 1 Bowmat Courier. If your hand is nice, you got a 2-drop here, already attacking for 4 points of damage by the second turn, a cumulative 4 points of damage. And Oliver needs Fatal Push to keep pace. And even if he has it, it's unclear which of these two threats he wants to take down.
Well, I think he's got it in hand. I think he's actually holding on to a copy of Fatal Push. That's maybe the reason that he led with the basic swamp, ensuring he had untapped black mana, and he does indeed. He goes after the Bowmat Courier. Your thoughts on that choice there, Reed?
I love it. You got to play with your life total a little bit. You got to make sacrifices here and there. But the one thing that you can't allow your opponent to do is empty their hand and then refill with a fresh 4 or 5 cards off Bowmat Courier. I would rather be at a lower life total and make sure that my opponent does not have gas in the tank come turn 4, 5, 6.
Glint Sleeve Siphoner, the second play here for Oliver Chew. He's looking to draw some extra cards off of this 2-1 Menace, but I don't think he's going to look to race. He wants to lean on defensive cards, defensive options, but Bram Thomas isn't going to give him the option to do anything with that 2-1, and Abrade takes care of the, not quite Dark Confident 2.0, maybe Dark Confident 0.7. It's still an alpha.
Boy, Riley, it felt like you were setting us up all weekend for that moment there if Bram Thomas had Chain Whirler to punish the Glint Sleeve Siphoner, but he does not.
Nope.
That's part of the guessing game, and, sometimes your cards line up well. Oh, man, he found it 1 turn too late.
Oh, dear. Just like that, he could have really cashed out here with his Goblin Chain Whirler, but, no, actually he couldn't have because Oliver Chew with the answer there. An Essence Scatter. So on 11, he is going to have to do something to stabilize. This Earthshaker Kenra continues to pick away, and something like a Vraska's Contempt would be a nice way to not only deal with an eternalized threat, but buffer that life total a little bit.
Definitely. Or the card that he's really, really looking for would be a turn 5 Scarab God. That's very brutal against mono red. Sometimes their draw is good enough that they can get past it or finish you off soon after, but at a reasonable life total, if Oliver can just slam the Scarab God, that's very difficult for Bram to contend with.
So, Chew now, 4 mana. We may see a Ravenous Chupacabra take care of the Earthshaker Kenra here. After cycling away 2 Fetid Pulls, Chew has worked on his hand, and yes, indeed, Ravi Chupe's going to have some brekkie here. And the Earthshaker Kenra hits the bin. Let's see what Thomas wants to do with the end of this turn. He may have some burn pointed upstairs. That looked like a Lightning Strike to me. And then a Shock as well, so all-out aggro. Thomas down to 1 card in hand, and it's a good one too. A Hazoret coming across 5, Chew down to 1. Vraska's Contempt or bust for him here. Does have a commit in hand as well, so I guess that's another answer to the indestructible threat.
Yeah, and there's one more option available to Oliver, which is Doomfall. He did navigate to a board state where Bram Thomas only has 1 creature.
He does have the Vraska's Contempt, however. It's just a matter of when he wants to play it. Looks like he might be considering maybe cycling to find that land. That's a very greedy play. I mean, you've got to snap off the instant, right?
You got to think about haste creatures. You got to think about Earthshaker Kenra and Shock. So even if Oliver does have multiple different answers to the Hazoret, got to be liking that 2 life just to reduce the number of cards that kill you immediately off the top of Bram Thomas's deck.
Chew. He's having a good old think about this one. Really pop the thinking cap on now.
And it's rare. Oliver usually plays at such a fast clip that to see him really stopping, taking stock of the situation, it means he's taking it seriously. It means he's got a tough decision.
So in hand, we can see there, Arguel's Bloodfast.
I don't like that option. That's not so good.
Let's cross that one off the list to begin with. We've got, I think there's a Doomfall as well, but it's going to be Vraska's Contempt in addition to that Commit to Memory still in hand. So, Chew, yeah, he did really have a smorgasbord of options, back up to 3. Thomas could end it with a Lightning Strike off the top, but doesn't find it, just a mountain. So Oliver Chew gets another bite at the cherry here, finds a 6th land. And now it's going to be an Arguel's Bloodfast. Isn't going to do a whole lot just yet. But, we've seen the other side of this card do a lot of work throughout the weekend. Maybe Oliver Chew's going to get back into it with that Temple of Aklazot's, a bit of a Diamond Valley read. Yeah,
so Oliver looking to pair the flipped Arguel's Bloodfast with a creature. Scarab God or Torrential Gearhulk would be the ideal ones, but even something smaller like a Ravenous Chupacabra, that's all right. Every little bit of life counts here.
So Tew, with the option now to put that Bomat Courier back into Thomas's library before it can hit the battlefield, or indeed after. He can choose his moment. He doesn't mind too much. And we'll see exactly how he wants to play this one out. It's going to be commit to memory. More specifically, commit. And so Thomas is going to redraw that turn after next. I like that. It does buy him a little bit of a time, and it also means that the second draw for Thomas isn't a lethal one straight away.
Oliver needs to be careful, though. If the top card of Bram's library is a mountain, he's got a 4/4 Earthshaker Kenra coming at him with haste.
Ooh, that's a very good point here. Temple of Akalazots is going to be able to put him back up to 4, so he's lightning strike proof. But oh no, here it is. We're going to see an Earthshaker Kenra being eternalized here for 6 mana off those mismatched mountains. Going to falter the Glintsleeve Siphoner, and Oliver Tew has to pack it up. So Thomas there with the exact card he needed to eternalize that Earthshaker Kenra, and we're going to game 2 with Thomas up a game.
Yeah, that should not have come as a surprise to Oliver. I think maybe he needed to take the hit from the Bomat in order to keep his instant speed answer for the eternalized Kenra.
And we'll move now and to look at the sideboard options for these two players here. Tew perhaps a little bit punished for pulling the trigger on that commit a little early, but he's really going to be able to reconfigure and bring in a bunch of cards that are just going to do a lot of work post-board here, Reed.
Definitely. He's got a lot of cards in his sideboard that say gain life, and those are going to be the ones that snap into his deck as quickly as possible. That's 3 copies of Gifted Aetherborn, 2 copies of Essence Extraction, and then Yaheni's Expertise is another great option for him. I really like that, in particular the way it pairs with Doomfall, where you can wipe up the small stuff, then use Doomfall to finish off the last big creature, be it a Hazoret, a Glorybringer, or whatever it might be.
On the other side of things, however, we do have Bram Thomas with his sideboard, and we talked about him kind of trying to play both sides of the field with his sideboard, going bigger, going smaller, with different options, removal, high-end threats. I mean, you said Glorybringer was going to be a key card. Is there anything that's quite on par with the Dragon here? Anything else that might also be under consideration?
So I see Chandra and Glorybringer as really the cards that shine against a deck that lacks haste creatures. So the blue-black mid-range deck, a lot of times all it's doing is putting 1 creature into play per turn at sorcery speed. Oliver doesn't have Walking Ballista. He doesn't have haste creatures. So if Bram Thomas can navigate to the situation where he's playing a Chandra or a Glorybringer and killing Oliver's 1 creature, that's just a tremendously favorable exchange, and it really puts the screws to Oliver to be able to keep up with him one step for one step and never fall behind.
Well, Thomas does, he is serving for the match here. He's done incredibly well to find himself in the finals of a GP, as indeed has Oliver Tew. Our entire top 8 put up pretty robust performances, although we had one player at 11-0-4, which was, raised some eyebrows around the tournament hall. Undefeated, technically. Not a particularly convincing undefeated record, but hey, you'll take it.
We had some fireworks in the semifinals. I think both of our semifinals competitors, Morgan McLaughlin and Jack Kiefer, they both seemingly at points in the match had their opponents dead to rights, but some unlikely turns of events led to Oliver Tew and Bram Thomas in the finals. In particular, Jack Kiefer, he had to sit there with that long judge call in a seemingly dominant position with Godpharaoh's Gift ready to go. I just want to congratulate him on being a great sport, shaking his opponent's hand. I know a situation like that can be really, traumatic,
super
emotional.
Yeah.
But Jack Kiefer, just great sport. Congratulations to him on both fantastic run in the tournament and just being a class act.
Yeah, full credit to Kiefer, who was enjoying the support of his family. His old man and his younger brother were here out in force cheering on the Kiefer clan, and unfortunately did come to an abrupt end there in the semis, but this isn't the last we've heard of Jack Kiefer, Quinn Kiefer, Lucas Kiefer. These guys are ready to rock and roll, and we'll be seeing them again before very much longer, you would think. Yeah,
first of many performances on the big stage, I'd say.
Well, I noticed in his top 8 profile, actually, Jack Kiefer mentioned one of his proudest Magic achievements was being the first to reach the Pro Tour out of his brothers. So a little bit of brotherly competition, a little bit of fraternal competition. You and I both know what that's like, Reed. I know we come from different sides of the equation. You're a younger brother and I'm an older brother. But in this situation, the middle brother is the one getting it done. Yeah,
he's the first, and he'll have that for the entire rest of his life. Nobody can ever take that away from him.
I do not envy Lucas Kiefer, because it's never a nice thing to have a younger brother beat you at anything at all. And yes, my sympathies go out to Lucas for having to suffer that kind of ribbing there. I'm sure you and Ian have got a lot of I'm sure you've got a lot of tally boards that you've assembled over the decades.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, who can throw a football the furthest and all that sort of stuff. So in any case, these two players right now getting ready for game number 2 now. Oliver Chu, as we saw, going down to a quick start from Bram Thomas, who never really gave Chu too much breathing room. I like some of the answers that Chu had to the questions that Thomas was posing, but ultimately just ripping cards off the top of his library like a fiend, and it all lined up for Thomas there. This very aggressive deck paid dividends.
That was an extremely, extremely close game. Both players had good draws, good mix of lands and spells, but, Bram Thomas had the play, which is huge in this matchup, and his deck gives very little breathing room, and he was able to just barely get across the finish line there.
Argyl's Bloodfast, the first play for Oliver Chu. Bit of a head-scratcher here, you would think. Paying life, not what you want to do, Reed. You said that you would be bringing it into to gain life, bring cards into gain life, but hey, we've seen the Temple of Aklazot's buffer life total throughout the weekend.
there is the words gain life somewhere on this card, and that that fits with the theme of my sideboarding strategy for Oliver.
Just Control F, gain life, select all, drag and drop, get it done. Chu's going to draw a card as well. Look at this. That is gutsy stuff from him down to 18. Thomas, however, a much slower start from him this time around. It's going to be PNLR.
We're shaping up to have a much different game than in game number 1. Predictably, the decks are going to slow down after sideboarding. Bram, if he's going to bring in those Chandras and Glory Bringers that I suggested, that does come at the cost of some of his cheaper cards and his aggressive potential. So the dynamic might change a little bit here between game 1 and game 2.
Chu hitting those land drops. Got a Ravenous Chupacabra as well. This card, obviously the Scourge of Rivals Limited. But it's good to see it getting it done and constructed at least a little bit.
It's a really powerful effect. I mean, killing your opponent's best card and putting a roadblock onto the battlefield is a really nice effect. And in particular, what makes it so strong in Oliver's deck is the ability to pair this wide variety of utility value creatures with the Scarab God and with Liliana Death's Majesty. Just, when in the late game situations where he finds himself with one of those cards and a full graveyard, he can the world is his oyster. He can do whatever he wants. And we've talked about it all weekend. A player like Oliver navigating to those challenging, close situations and having options available to him, he's going to find a way.
Soulscar Mage followed up by another PNLR, so it looks like both of them came in from the board here, and we're going to see the Thopter get in for a point as well, poking away at Chu. That's first blood for Thomas, the 2 points of damage firstly inflicted by the Argyl's Bloodfast. Let's see what Chu can cook up now in his 5th turn. Chupacabra can hold the fort for at least the time being, but he's going to want to transition towards that late game. Start pulling out those haymakers that threaten to take over a game here, Reed.
Yeah, the players getting to their 5th land, this is when the fireworks could start. I don't know exactly what the texture of each player's hand is, but both players capable of deploying some powerful stuff. Interesting to see the Chupacabra coming in here. This heralds a Yaheni's expertise in my mind.
Oh, right, okay. That'll make sense. Maybe Thomas is sniffing that one out here. But that is the classic control move, right? You attack him with the creature and then slam the Verdict, slam the Wrath. Yeah. So that could be the way that it goes. I can see a fatal push in Oliver Chu's hand. That could have been another one that he was looking to leverage here. But no, wow, look at that. You sniffed it out, Reed. And no further play from the expertise there.
Really nice follow-up for Bram.
Torch of Defiance now coming down. Picking his moment, playing around any opportunity that Chu had to cast something like a negate to take care of the Torch of Defiance. Now Chu's got his work cut out for him. He needs something like a Vraska's Contempt to get rid of this Planeswalker. He's going to draw a card.
He's going to start with Argyl's Bloodfast, digging.
Finds a Torrential Gearhulk.
Well, that's going to be a nice one for the long run, because if he can find Vraska's Contempt, he'll be in all the better position because he can answer the best 2 of Bram's threats instead of just the best 1. Additionally, if he's in desperation, in a desperation situation, he can just flash it in as a 5/6 and try to pressure his opponent's Planeswalkers that way.
Drawing another card now, Oliver Chu. And here we go, Gifted Aetherborn. Obviously dies to the Flame Slash mode for Bram Thomas, but it will require an answer. The lifelink on that is just not something that Thomas can ignore. Fatal Push also in hand there for Tew. And is he drawing another card? Down to 7. This man has no fear.
Yeah, he might be in part trying to accelerate to the transformation of his Argyll's Bloodfast. That's going to be a powerful mode if he has to flash in the Torrential Gearhulk for minimal value, because at least he knows if his opponent can remove it, he can gain 6 life for his troubles.
Yeah, that's a power move for sure. That's a huge power move. Exactly what you want to be doing, gaining that life. But, I mean, at what cost? Down to 5 is going to be risky business here for Tew. But he does have a nice full grip. Haven't got a good look at what Thomas is working with. Kind of hard at this angle to see exactly what he's got.
Yeah, I can't see too well either, but one card that's really catching my imagination at this point is Fight with Fire, 2 copies in his sideboard. And with the mana ability of Chandra, he's only 1 short of a kicked Fight with Fire. I'm not necessarily expecting Oliver to have cards like Negate in his sideboard, so that could be an amazing finish to an amazing tournament if that's what Bram is setting up.
Well, we'll see what happens here. Here's the land. Chandra. Oh, trying to find a 7 on a D6. Oh, not an easy task here. Bram Thomas. Are we going to see a kicked Fight with Fire win this GP? Fight with Fire target you. Does Oliver Tew have any kind of response? Ladies and gentlemen, we are not watching Dominaria Limited.
10 damage.
Oliver down to 5 here, an extension of the hand. That's the game of Magic, ladies and gentlemen. Bram Thomas wins with a kicked Fight with Fire. An unbelievably thrilling climax here to what an incredible tournament we've had. I mean, the finals falling thick and fast, Reed. That was a blink and you miss it magic.
I never thought I'd see something like that. Of all the ways that matchup could play out, Fight with Fire off of Chandra, Torch of Defiance, amazing.
I mean, we're talking about Glory Ring. We're thinking, yeah, Chandra, Torch of Defiance is going to come in, do all this sort of stuff. But then, yeah, just like, I mean, Bram Thomas has played enough Dominaria Limited. It's like, oh, this is the easy way to get. We just get to 9 mana and I'll go upstairs. Yeah,
you mentioned Ravenous Chupacabra, the Scourge of Ixalan Limited. Fight with Fire definitely takes that trophy for Dominaria Limited.
For sure, that's absolutely right. Well, my friends, that's just about all she wrote today, sports fans. We are going to wrap things up here from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. What a pleasure it's been to have your company. Bram Thomas, the champion of GP Pittsburgh, crowning well, I tell you what, a standard format that I know will have redeemed itself for many players. We've seen a lot of blue decks on display. Green not making much of an appearance at the top end of the tables, but looks like the format may be a little bit on the mend here.
Yeah, we saw great stuff all weekend. A lot of different flavors of Control, mid-range. Oliver Tew and Jack Kiefer both putting up top 4 performances with decks that we didn't necessarily expect to be front runners. But in the end, Mono Red still as strong as ever and still able to take down a Grand Prix trophy here.
Well, we are going to wrap things up here from Pittsburgh. Rita, firstly on a personal note, mate, I want to thank you for hanging out with me all weekend. I still remember approaching you nervously in 2013, having you sign that Bonfire of the Damned. It's still in my cube. And now I'm sitting here across from you. I mean, I can't really believe it, but what a weekend I've had. So thanks so much for being part of it for me.
First time of many, I hope.
I hope so too, my friends. And I hope that you've enjoyed our coverage of GP Pittsburgh from around the world, wherever you are. On behalf of Team Coverage, I'd like to extend our heartfelt thanks to all of the judging staff, the tournament organisers, and of course the players who have turned up to play and helped to contribute to the success of this event. But our biggest thanks, of course, ladies and gentlemen, goes to you. You at home around the world, you make this possible, and you help us all to have the very best job in the world. Congratulations to all the players and their varying levels of success this weekend. Of course, we're all winners for having taken part. It's just that some of us win a little bit more than others. My friends, join us next week. We'll be off to the US Nationals and GP Sao Paulo the week after that. We hope you're going to join us here at twitch.tv/magic. My name's Riley Knight, signing off on behalf of Team Coverage. We'll see you next time.